What up, football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. Y'all know what time it is. It's Happy New Year. It is 2025, and this is the first edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup of 2025. Punch that intro. What is going on? Good afternoon, good evening. What is happening, everybody out there? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan. Right now, you see me up here on the screen solo. Adam, I guess, will be joining me shortly. But I just wanted to go ahead and get this party started, man. Look, first edition of the 2020 of the season, man, of this year, 2025, the first episode, and we got some things to talk about, man. We got two teams in the NFC East that have punched their ticket into the postseason. The other two teams have punched their ticket to an off-season vacation, and some serious soul searching, I would say, the other two squads, man. What's going on? No mess, no nest, no Jets, man. Happy New Year. Thanks for checking in, bro. As always, my guy, man. Hope you had a good New Year yesterday, good holiday, enjoying the day, man. Appreciate you stopping in, bro. But we're going to get, like I said, I'll just get right there at it, man. It's New York Giants. We're going to start with the New York Giants, man. Like, look, you go into this game, man, you got one goal, one objective, man. And I understand players ain't necessarily playing to lose. They're not playing to tank. They're going to go out there and give it all they got. But with the effort we've seen from this New York Giant team over the course of basically this whole goddamn season, what happened on Sunday leaves most of us New York Giant fans completely flabbergasted. To say the least, you know what I mean? Just to say the least. This team here goes in and wins an absolutely meaningless football game, a game that was going to do nothing for them but hurt their draft status. And I know I've been on the record of saying a draft pick ain't a guarantee, nothing. You still go out there, you compete to win. But the pitiful effort in which this team has displayed all season, the number one overall draft pick was right within your reach, New York Giants. And now you done fucked that up too. The same way you done fucked everything else up this season. What's going on, Bookends? Happy New Year to you, good brother. Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate you, man. So I can't figure it out with this football team, man. Going to this football game a little bit. The Giants, Colts come to town. The Colts, they still got a little bit to play for. Sure, it was going to be a long shot for them to make the postseason, but they still had an outside opportunity, and it started with them beating the lowly New York Giants, which most people thought was going to be no problem. But yet, here we go. The Colts come out there with this lackluster defense, this piss-poor tackling, and had the New York Giants offense looking like the greatest show on turf for many parts of this football game. Absolutely ridiculous. I haven't seen a New York Giant offensive explosion like this in God knows how long. Drew Lock accounts for 5 touchdowns on the day, 4 in the air and 1 with his legs, man. You make it make sense, man. Drew Lock has been pretty sad at best in all his other starts this season, and he comes out and has a career day against the Indianapolis Colts. Now I get it, the New York Giants, they not trying to go, winless at home and all this, that, and the other, but should have thought about that way earlier in the year, as far as I'm concerned. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Now you come out here and you win this football game, and I've never been as angry as I am right now over victory. I'm usually that guy that's always going to celebrate the victories, be happy, be good. I can't be good with this one. You had the number 1 overall pick within your reach. Now you're down to what? Number 4? I just don't get it. You know what I mean? And I don't understand how anybody else can try to validate this nonsense, man. What you got going on here? I think organizations around the NFL have placed a lower value on the top 5 picks this season. Consensus from media reports the top pick is not worth the tank. And I kind of get that, but I think the New York Giants are in a situation where they had an opportunity at the top pick, They had the opportunity at probably one of those top quarterbacks. One of those, I mean, pretty much it's the one. I mean, Shador Sanders, Cam Ward are pretty much the 1 and 2. However, whichever order people were, some people like Shador, some people like Cam. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And I think the New York Giants have backed themselves in such a corner that they kind of needed this. They kind of needed that pick. They needed that pick, and they blew it. So I just think that that they need to man. They need to really do some soul searching, man, to figure it out. Because now, as you mentioned up here, by Bookend just mentioned up in here, man, the Eagles are sitting Barkley, and I'm sure they're sitting pretty much everybody else as well, which means it's gonna be hard for the New York Giants to lose this football game unless they just go down there and completely lay down on the field in Philly on Sunday. Which who knows? I mean, we've seen efforts like that pretty much most of this season, so you never know what we might get. I mean, but now it's time to start looking at these other quarterbacks that are probably going to be a little further down in the draft. You got some and I see one up in that thing right now. No Mets got Jackson Dart up in there, and that's a good one. And watching Dylan Gabriel right now, Milrow. I mean, you got to start looking at guys like that and seeing maybe figuring it out between characters like that. So. Because at this point, Shador and Cam could be out of reach now. Could be. Especially if the Giants go out there and win the game on Sunday against the Eagles. So, I just don't know what to say about this team, man. I think the team, they couldn't play football right all season. Then you get down to the end of the season and they can't even tank right. Look, I don't mind seeing the effort that I saw on Sunday to an extent, just to see that you do have at least some degree of fight in you. But like I said, you really didn't need to win that football game. You should have figured out a way to still, make it look good and lose while still losing the game, man. I think that was just your best result. I mean, you had nobody in your way stopping you from number 1 overall pick just because you're going to outright have the worst record. Now you're in this ridiculous tie amongst all the other teams with the same records, but now these tiebreaker scenarios kick in, and now you find yourself slipping back further. Now, right now, I believe at number 4, you win on Sunday, it can go even further back. So, yeah, exactly. We even suck at sucking, man, right there. But like I said, I think it's time that, like I said, we got to get the realization that you got to start looking at some of these other quarterbacks and just other prospects in general. And man, look, I think. Is Shador and Cam completely off the table? No, of course not. You never know what can happen throughout the draft process. But right now, man, it's just not looking that realistic. So you gotta they gotta definitely figure some things out. This New York Giant team, I will say, I'll give props to Malik Neighbors getting clips in that 1,000-yard mark on the season. All the receptions, all the good stuff he's done, but none of it really means much of anything, man, at this point, because this team absolutely stinks. Tyrone Tracy going over 1,000 all-purpose yards. That's good. I mean, for a 5th-round draft pick, he's definitely paid some dividends. Young man, I think, though, needs to definitely work on his ball handling. He's going to have to really hold on to that football, man, going forward if he's going to have any future in this New York Giant backfield, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm still not convinced. The Giants should be content going into the season next year with him as a lead back. I think he really would serve better as a complimentary type of guy, to be honest. I really believe that's the best role for him. He's still pretty much learning the position at running back. He's not really all that polished, but clearly the kid has that grit and go out there and make some plays, man. But he's got to really learn how to hold on to that football. And you can clearly see the wide receiver in him, the way he holds on to that football, because he's in traffic. He doesn't recognize when to put both hands on that football and protect that football. And he's got to do that, man. Like I said, give him that Omar Epps treatment from the program, whatever it takes to get him right. Because I do like what he brings to the table, but we can't be having him turning the ball over and fumbling the games away. I mean, he almost did that again this week. That would have been a big momentum shift if they would have been able to recover that fumble, and that probably would have resulted in the New York Giants loss, to be quite frank. So even if you didn't want a quarterback, losing the first pick hurts. You could use it as leverage for the future. It sucks regardless. I absolutely agree with that. That's yet also another true statement, man. Absolutely agree with that, Bookends. Because you losing, like you said, you losing. You have number one overall pick. You do have that leverage, and you got teams like the Raiders that'll who knows the Raiders will give up a king's ransom to get what they want. You know how they operate out there in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? They were the type of team that would have who knows what the hell they might have done just to get up there to that top pick to get the guy they want and love so much. And obviously we kind of know that's Shador Sanders. So it's just things like that that just bothers me with this football team, man. It's like the lack of doing anything the right way. And I get it, Brian Dable, you out there coaching for your life, so to speak. I still think they need to get rid of your ass anyway, regardless. I don't think anything that's happening now should have any effect on the decision on him. I think it's a joke. I think this whole tenure has been a joke. That first season, you're coach of the year and took it to the playoffs. That's looking so much like a fluke when you keep looking back at it in hindsight. It's looking like that was just absolutely a mirage. This team has gotten to a point of being pathetic, and a lot of changes need to happen, all the way down from the rooter to the tutor. As far as I'm concerned, anybody is expendable because that's just how bad this team is. I'm not mad at any move this team makes to try to better themselves. Any move. Now, Andrew Thomas, do I dare say Dexter Lawrence? I mean, granted, I would love to hold on to a guy like a Dexter Lawrence in particular, but if that's what it takes, if that's what it takes to make this team better, is to get what you can get for a guy like that, which you should be able to get a haul for somebody like a Dex, then so be it. This is how it's got to be. This New York Giant team is absolutely bad, and it just needs so many changes and so many holes need to be filled. It's just I can't. I've never seen a New York Giant team as bad as this one in my lifetime, personally. Said, imagine if the Giants would have had the number two pick last year. Had the number two pick last year, they would have drafted May. Giants fans would still be pissed. I say all that to say it really don't matter where we pick if Joe is picking. That could be true. I mean, look, Joe Shane, for all the shit that I hate about Joe Shane and dislike about Joe Shane, the way he conducts himself, the way his arrogance was on display during like Hard Knocks and everything else that we've seen with him. This past draft, 2024 draft, he hit on some picks, man. I can't hate on it, what he did in this past draft. I mean, you just can't. I mean, first round, Malik Neighbors, that speaks for itself. Second round, Tyler Newman still leads all rookies in tackles, and he hasn't played in almost a month. I mean, Drew Phillips is out there balling. Theo Johnson was coming around big time before he got injured. He was starting to really develop and look like he was going to be a little something, be a bit of a problem before he got hurt as well. And then Tyrone Tracy obviously has won the starting running back job over Devin Singletary. So, I mean, I can't really hate on what he did with this past draft. I mean, he really did. A good job. Made some good selections and made some impact. Got some players that like they could be impact players for this team going forward. With that being said, he can still go. He can still be dismissed. I just don't like the stink that they brought to this organization, man. Like I said, it's one thing to be bad. It's another thing to be absolutely pathetic, and that's what the New York Giants are right now. Absolutely pathetic, man. And I can't take no more. I can't take no more what I'm watching. I can't sit back as a fan like I am and just keep watching this sad shit, this sad display of football. So, for what it is, man, look, Giants, man, look, they just need to do a lot. That's all I got to say about that right now, man. They need to do a lot. Like I said, it's all well and good. Malik Neighbors looking like big time rookie. I mean, maybe he might get a little nod for a rookie of the year nomination. Obviously, is not going to win that award, but he may get a little bit of a nod for a little nomination just because, 104 catches, 1,140 yards, 6 touchdowns, and just a lot of big impact plays for him this year, especially in this game in particular on Sunday against the Colts. Had a few big splash plays in this game. This is what we drafted this kid for. This is what you were looking for, but we needed that. We needed a lot more of that earlier in the year, and I get it. The quarterback play has been suspect all season long, and it's nothing you can really do about that. But that's what I mean when I say people keep trying to talk themselves out of a quarterback in this draft. You can't do that. You absolutely can't do that. Not with the way the state of this quarterback room. You can't talk yourself out of what you know needs to be done. And what needs to be done is bringing in a guy that just fan base can stand behind and feel somewhat confident about. I mean, because if you can even look down like in New Orleans with Spencer Rattler, they didn't obviously bring him in to necessarily be the next guy. And I'm not saying he will be the next guy, but he's showing flashes. He's shown some flashes. He's had some struggles this year, obviously as well. But he's also shown some flashes of a solid quarterback, and it wouldn't have been horrible to have that Giants had opportunities to draft even a guy like that. You could at least had here on the roster a young guy that you never know what could happen, what he could potentially turn into. But we didn't even take a swing at one last year, and now here we are, just sitting here with a quarterback room of Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and what's his name, Tim Boyle, whatever his name is. And it's just ridiculous to me, man. So I think the Giants have backed themselves into a corner where a quarterback is a must in this draft coming up, and there's nothing else we can do about it, man. What's going on, Daniel Barry? Happy New Year to you, man. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. But I didn't really want to consume all my time, too much of this time on the New York Giants because what's there really to talk about? We're just counting down to the offseason at this point. But I do want to say shout out to all my guys, Hardcore Sports Network. Make sure y'all go sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network. Make sure y'all go sub up to the Big Blue Crew Sports Network as well. You know what I mean? And just keep supporting the movement, supporting the grind, man. Putting in the network. It's going to have a whole lot of great content coming out for you. In the Big Blue Crew Sports Network, when we hit the off season, it's going to be definitely be some good stuff going on, man. And definitely make sure y'all tune in. So make sure y'all go subscribe to the Big Blue Crew Sports Network and subscribe to the Hardcore Sports Network as well. And subscribe to my channel as well if you haven't already. Anybody out there that's listening that may not be subscribed to my channel at MacDaGiantsFan, make sure you go do that as well. But let's move it along a little bit. Let's talk a little bit of Eagles Cowboys, man, from Sunday. Cowboys went into this game. Season was already over. They were already eliminated from the postseason anyway, but they've been showing a little bit of fight. They have been showing a little bit of fight, a little bit resolve the last couple of weeks. Like a team that actually still gave a fuck, even though their season was pretty much over. And they went in there on Sunday, and the Eagles absolutely just trounced them in Philly, man. I mean, absolutely just put the work in, man. And this one here, just all Eagles basically. Kenny Pickett didn't finish the game. He got hurt, but Tanner McKee came in and finished strongly and got the job done. I mean, Tanner McKee came in with 2 touchdown passes. I said Tanner McKee, third string quarterback, comes in, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley doing exactly what he's been doing all year, 31 carries, 167 yards on the day, and going over the 2,000-yard mark, which is obviously an amazing feat. Only, I believe, eight people have ever done it ever in the history of the game. So that tells you everything you need to know about that number right there for running backs. And then Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, still, out there making noise as well, man. 6 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns for Devontae Smith on the day. This Eagles team still rocking and rolling, man, and they're locked into the number 2 seed, so looks like they're going to be sitting their players down this week, not trying to go out there and risk anybody getting hurt against a lowly New York Giant team, which I know how people can say how they feel about resting players, but it makes sense. Protect your investments. Why go out there and let some dumbass young player trying to just make a name for himself blow out Saquon Barkley's knee? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, right? Why put that at risk when no matter what happens, you're going to be the number 2 seed in the NFC? That's not going to change. So there's nothing to play for at all. You can't be number 1. You're not going to drop down to number 3, 4, or anything else. You're locked in. And your spot's locked in. You're number 2 seed. You're going to be playing, looks like the Washington Commanders in the first round. So let me double check that. Let me fact check that real quick. Washington is still just a 7. Oh no, Green Bay. Looks like Green Bay Green Bay right now is the 7th seed. Washington did move up a notch. Uh, so it looks like Eagles, you locked in. You're going to be hosting Green Bay, which is not going to be an easy matchup for the Eagles. That's the type of game that the Eagles need to watch out for, and it's going to be fun to break that one down if that's how it stays, because that can still change. I believe that can still change if the Cowboys beat the Commanders on Sunday and Green Bay wins their game. I think they'll flip flop positions again. But this Philadelphia Eagle team did not do what they did a season ago. They did not have that letdown, that midseason letdown that just kind of just snowballed their season for the negative a season ago. This year they got stronger. Each and every week they just continue to get stronger, 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 stronger. And like I keep saying it, this is Philadelphia Eagle team is a team loaded with depth, loaded with great depth. As you witnessed, Jalen Hurts was already down anyway. Kenny Pickett came in, he played well. What you call it came in. He came in and he played well. Tanner McKee came in, he played well. It's just depth all over this football team. What is going on? What's going on, Giant Goofballs, man? I appreciate you popping in. Happy New Year to you. What up, man, Cave, man? I appreciate you popping in too, man. Appreciate you popping in. Happy New Year to you, good brother. But most definitely, man. The Eagles. So this Eagle team has been they've gotten better, and they've been hot, man. Going, like I said, getting ready for this playoff run. And why not? Why? What's the point? Like I said, no point in going out there risking injury and playing these guys and playing their players on Sunday. It just doesn't make sense against the Giants. Now it's just up to the Giants to figure out how they gonna approach this game. I mean, that's what it's gonna come down to. It's for the Dallas Cowboys. That's for the Dallas Cowboys. This season did not go the way they expected it to or the way they wanted it to. This team was a team that was supposed to be a team competing with the Eagles tooth and nail for this division title, and it's supposed to be definitely a postseason team as well. And they have been one of the biggest disappointments of this season, man. And you can say what you want about injuries. Every team deals with injuries, man. So that's just not going to ever be an excuse for me. You just it's all about how you overcome those injuries. And I think one of the biggest things that screwed this Dallas Cowboy team up was not addressing the running back position properly in the offseason. Came into this season and you really didn't have anything at running back at all. You bring what everybody knew was a washed up Ezekiel Elliott back. You knew that wasn't going to be an answer. And, I mean, Rico Dowdle, he did some good stuff. He definitely did some good stuff for this football team down the stretch. But let's face it, he's a complimentary back as well. And it just, that was pretty much, I think, what really, really, really hurt the Cowboys the most was just their lack of their inability to run the football at all in the early part of this year. They couldn't run the ball worth a lick against anybody. It didn't matter who they, other than the New York Giants, of course. That was like their first breakout rushing game that they actually did something good against early in the season. I mean, but other than that, they just couldn't get the job done on the ground, man. And that's when your offense gets so one-sided like that, it's just teams. It's so easy for teams to finally figure you out, and you just become predictable. So I just think that this Dallas Cowboys team is going to have an interesting offseason as well. They're going to be one of those teams Jerry Jones is not going to just take this kind of a year lying down, man. So it makes it curious to see what he's going to come out there and want to do and how he's going to try to figure this out to get this team back right, because this is a team still loaded with a lot of talent on both sides of the football. But this season just wasn't it, man. I mean, they're not the only team that went through had a disappointing year. I mean, obviously you can talk about the 49ers out there, last place in the NFC West. That is definitely not what anybody thought was going to happen out there, and that anybody had that division shaping up, but the 49ers pulling up the rear. So that's just how it goes in the NFL, man. And right now, this Philadelphia, like I said, this Eagle team, they have proven to be the kings of the mountain in the NFC East, and that's just what it is. And I mean, so let's get to the other team in the NFC East, man. And that is the Washington Commanders. This is the team that showed up this season and made absolutely the most of it. People say, oh, quarterback doesn't change everything. You need more than just a quarterback. Well, look, I know they made other changes, and they did. They made staff changes, the coaching staff, everything. And I get they made other changes. I know Jaden Daniels was not their only change. But when you look at that team, you can still take that team and put a lesser quarterback on that team, and they would not have had the success that they had because that roster is still not where it needs to be. I think they had a great year, but I mean, I don't know if they're built to have a legitimately deep playoff run because I just think that they're kind of right now they're overachieving a bit. But at the end of the day, Jaden Daniels has been the difference on that football team, and he's had quite the impact, and I think he probably has taken control back of the Rookie of the Year race as well. I think Bo Nix put the heat on him a little bit, but I think Jaden Daniels has made quite the difference, and you see this Washington team was last place in the NFC East a season ago. Last place. They were behind the New York Giants a season ago. They were less than us a season ago. And now they're in the postseason. Now they're in the postseason with double-digit victories. So I don't want to hear what a quarterback ain't going to do. You saw what a quarterback did for the Washington Commanders. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I mean, bookend. Absolutely. That's what the impact of getting that guy in there, of getting your guy can have on your football team. I mean, sure, you need other things to crack the right way. Like I said, they made other moves, other things, made other upgrades. But what Jaden Daniels brought to this football team, man, is now he brought them life, something for them to believe in. They've got a franchise guy. Now they got to worry about keeping this young man healthy. Don't do what you did to RG3. Don't ruin him like that now. And I'm not saying that's even going to happen because this is a whole completely different, infrastructure now than back in the RG3 years. But you just don't fuck it up, Washington. You got your guy. Now build around him. Continue to just build around him. You have your foundational piece in place. And it's just all about building around him and getting that shit right, man. From the door. That's what you got to do. That's how you continue to move going forward. It's just you're going to continue to and who knows what you can do. I mean, honestly, as scrappy as this Washington team is, who knows? They might go out there and win a playoff game. Right now, as things sit, looks like they're going to be getting the Rams maybe. I guess the Rams, I suppose. In the first round. I mean, that's gonna be an interesting matchup, an interesting game, man. So it's just like go out there, you take care of your business on Sunday. Hold that sixth spot if you like. I mean, it doesn't really much matter. You're gonna be on the road regardless, but hold on to that sixth seed. Go out there and go into the playoffs with some momentum, man. Go out there, take care of business against a bagged Dallas Cowboy team on Sunday, and do what you got to do. But this Washington football team has been fun to watch, man, and it sucks because by them, I hate everything about Washington, the Eagles, the Cowboys. Hate everything about these teams these rival teams in this division. But I got to take my hat off to the Washington Commanders. I mean, I thought they were going to be a scrappy team coming into this year. I thought they were going to, definitely be a lot better than they were a season ago. But I did not foresee the season that they had this year. I didn't foresee that, and I think a lot of people didn't. I don't think a lot of people did. I mean, let's face it. I mean, maybe some of their most hardcore, over the top fans might say, "Oh yeah, I knew they were going to be this good," but who really thought that this team was going to be that good? I still thought they were going to be battling with the Giants just to be third place in the division. I honestly thought that it was still going to be all about the Cowboys and the Eagles. I mean, and I think most people did. So the fact that they were able to take that next step and leapfrog the Dallas Cowboys and go neck and neck with the Philadelphia Eagles, basically. I mean, and they have a victory over the Eagles this season as well. It's just something to be said about that. And like I said, Jaden Daniels he's a really, really special talent, man, special player. This kid Looks like a seasoned veteran already in the league, man. Doesn't look like a guy that just played his first NFL season this past year. He's like a guy that's been around. And I don't see no slump coming with him, no sophomore slump or any of that other stuff people like to talk about. I see a guy that's just he's going to continue to make noise. He's going to continue to get better. I mean, he's already making smart decisions. He's a leader. He is the leader. There was no doubt in his mind on Sunday night against the Falcons when they won that coin toss. When they won the coin toss at the end of the game, that he was going to take that ball and put it in the end zone. There was no doubt in his mind. He knew what he was going to do. Didn't even give Michael Penix and that offense an opportunity. Took it right down there. No field goal here. We're putting it in the end zone, and we're wrapping this shit up. And we're going to get our playoff spot, and we're going to get up out of here. That's how he handled his business. And that's what I'm talking about. Exactly. He is absolutely a problem, Bookends. Absolutely he's a problem. And he's going to be a problem the New York Giants are going to have to deal with for a long, long time. And they got to get somebody in there for the Giants. Got to get somebody in there that can compete with that, with what these guys are doing. So, I mean, you got to keep up at this point, New York Giants. And right now, you are very, very far behind. I mean, you can be optimistic, but he's going to, based on what I've seen, he's going to be a problem. I didn't see any signs of this guy having any letdowns, no Mets. Sophomore slumps can be real, but I see no signs of a letdown from Jaden Daniels. Yeah, OSU is absolutely destroying Oregon right now. It's just crazy. I mean, C.J. Stroud, he's still, yeah, sure. It's not what he did. He was so good a season ago that sure, but he's still playing good. He's not like he's playing bad football. It's just not as tremendous as it was a season ago. I mean, so I get what you're saying, but C.J. Stroud is still good. It's not like he's playing bad either. Well, look, they're not my Commanders, Evan Moss. Thank you for stopping in, though. I appreciate you, brother. I do appreciate you. They are not my Commanders by no means, but they're not going. That's exactly where they're going to go. They're going to go either to Philly or to L.A. It's one or the other. Right now, they're going to L.A. But like I said, if they go out there and lose this game this Sunday and then Green Bay wins or whatever, it'll flip flop, I think, again, and then the Commanders will be going to Philly. And you're right, it could be one and done. But this is a team that has no quit in them. This team don't lay down, and this team is going to make it interesting no matter who they're going against. I mean, they make it interesting week in and week out, no matter who they out there on the field against, man. And no matter what, they always got a shot. But I do agree. I don't think necessarily I don't think they're constructed. They're built quite right yet for a deep playoff run right now. I do agree with you on that. So those will be tough places for them to go play, and that's what it comes down to. They're going to be either one. They're going to be in one of those two spots. Either going to be in Philly or going to be in LA. So we'll have to wait and see how this week unfolds and get the official matchups. But that is where they'll be playing at, either LA or Philly. And yeah, I mean, right now they look like they potentially could be. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, the Eagles don't look like they're necessarily going anywhere right away anytime soon either. But that is gonna be interesting. That's why, like I say, the Giants got a lot of work to do, man. That's why I keep going back to these Giants have so much work to do because the teams in this division are so much better than them right now, currently as things stand. I mean, so much better than them. So as it stands, the New York Giants right now have not won a division game this season, which probably will change on Sunday, seeing how things go out there. They'll probably get the little bullshit win against the Eagles as well and win one division game on the year, which to me, I won't even barely count that shit at this point because it's just once again another meaningless game. It'll be a meaningless victory that does nothing for them in any way, shape, or form, other than to say that they won't finish the season with no division wins. This, yeah, like I said, this is what it's all about. When I made this show, man, but yet when I created this show, I was hoping by now that I could have this kind of excitement for the New York Giants, and I'm still waiting for that. I'm still waiting for that. I got to sit here and I got to. It's the Eagles, and it's the Commanders. It's been the Cowboys, and that's what I was basically saying. Bookends. It's not a given they're gonna lose to anybody, man. I mean, they go out there. Are they as good on paper? Nah, but good enough to upset anyone. That's that right there. That right there. They've proven to be good enough to upset anybody because they go tooth and nail with anybody. And granted, they haven't had the most success against the better teams on their schedule this season, but they battled all those teams. And they also didn't go lay down to any of those teams. They went out there and went toe to toe, man, with them all the way straight through the entire all year long, man. So they got that scrap in them. So they'll be, like I said, they'll be a fun team to watch, and we'll see if they can make a little bit of noise in the postseason. But let's talk about these couple matchups this week. Eagles Giants. Okay, Eagles pretty much look like they're sitting everybody. The line is like what 2.5. So obviously that's telling you that they're pretty much sitting everybody. Vegas is not putting a lot of stake into the Eagles, but yet they're still favorites, even though they're sitting everybody because they're playing against the lowly New York Giants. I don't know, man. I think you really misjudging them a little bit. No Mets, man. I think you are, but like I said, I don't necessarily think they're beating any of those teams either, but they can, and it wouldn't completely shock me. Like, given what you've seen from Detroit, yes, their offense is still explosive, but that defense has a lot of holes in it now, brother. A lot of holes in that defense. And to me, I think Washington could go out there and beat them if they had to play Detroit. If they get past the first round and maybe end up finding themselves matched up with Detroit some way down, I don't think they can. I don't think it's out of the question that they can beat Detroit the way they are right now. I mean, the Packers, they're a good team, but I think Washington can beat them. And then, like I say, the Eagles are a divisional game that they're a familiar foe. That a team they just beat a couple of weeks ago. So they can beat the Eagles. And let's face it. I mean, the Rams, they can get. I mean, it's not out of the realm. I don't necessarily think they winning these games. They winning these football games, but it can be done. It wouldn't shock me if they did it. That's all I gotta say. That's true. And that is definitely a true statement, man. But at the same time, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, Washington is a crazy team, man. They've been a finicky team all season. And granted, what they lack on defense, they make up for on offense. Jaden Daniels is going to go out there and make plays. And Terry McLaurin is, like I said, the name Scary Terry, that's back in full effect this season. That came back in full effect this season. Scary Terry is back to being Scary Terry again. He kind of lost that nickname a little bit the last couple of years. That came back again this year. Scary Terry, man. He's definitely that guy. So I just think, and what they can do on the ground, and they can run the ball on the ground. It's not even just Brian Robinson Jr. That Rodriguez kid, he's a dog. He's a dog. So like, I just wouldn't count. I wouldn't count them completely out. Yeah, I wouldn't. Just like what Bookend said right here, I wouldn't bet on it, but they certainly can get the job done, man. They're capable, man. But Giants Eagles on Sunday, man. Saquon Barkley not playing. Like I said, I'm assuming most of the Eagles starters ain't playing. Saquon Barkley's basically has an opportunity to get the all-time single season rushing record, and he's taking the seat, man. He doesn't care about the record, which shows you that he cares more about the long game. He cares more about the big picture. And oh my God, is it 30-0? I look back at that score. Oh my God, Oregon, what is happening right now? Sorry, I didn't mean, but Jesus, I didn't see this one coming. Yo, I didn't see Oregon just getting absolutely thumped like this. But but yeah, Saquon, that it just goes to show you the like who he is as the character of him as a person too. Because most guys, they want those records, they want them individual accolades, and he cares about the long game. He wants a championship. He wants to make sure he's right and ready. He's ready for the playoff run. This game is meaningless. It has no value other than him getting that record. That's the only substance that he had reason that he would have to play, sustainable reason he would have to play at all. And then if you play him, then you got to play other starters that you might want to rest as well. So it's it just is all like I said. It's all this. It makes sense to me. I mean, even back when you go back to the first matchup with the Giants, when Saquon Barkley had a chance to get his single game record against the New York Giants. See a clip on him on the sideline. And Nick Sirianni like, you want to go back in and get those whatever 12 yards or whatever it was? He was like, no, I'm good, man. I'm just chill. Let the young boys eat. That right there shows you he's a team guy, man. A leader, a real leader. But that's neither here nor there, man. At the end of the day, the New York Giants have a problem on their hand. What's going on, EC1? Appreciate you stopping in. I appreciate you for stopping in, no doubt indeed, man. Happy New Year's to you as well. Yeah, nah, it's not crazy because here's the thing: when you why this is what I said earlier. Why risk putting Saquon Barkley out there when you're going against a team like the New York Giants, who's got all these little young guys out there looking to make names for themselves, hungry, trying to just and all it takes is some guy getting a little overzealous, and then boom, there goes Saquon Barkley's kneecap, just tore the fuck up because some young guy, just the way some young guy went out there and tried to tackle him or something. I mean, it just makes sense to me to rest Saquon Barkley and the rest of your starters, to be quite frank. Like I said, because you can't move. If you had a legitimate chance to still get the number one seed, or if losing the game could have made you drop down in a notch, but you're locked into the number two spot, you're going to be number two. It's not going to change. So to me, there's no point in putting your players at risk. Jalen Hurts is coming out off of concussion. I'm still not sure if he's been cleared concussion protocol. But either way, what's the point in putting them back out there in a meaningless game? That means nothing. That can do nothing for your team. It just does nothing for you. So it's like no point in putting them out there. Look, I'm not going to say he should be fired exclusively for letting him walk, because it's not the way he let him, it's the way he went about letting him walk. It's the arrogance in which he thought that, nobody was going to offer Saquon Barkley any kind of money. Like he wasn't Saquon Barkley, who is now going to be get the rushing title. And if he did play in this game, would undoubtedly most likely have the all-time single season rushing record. But he's, like I said, sitting that out. No, the Eagles are. That's without a doubt right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that for me. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now. That's, to me, they have surpassed the Lions with everything the Lions got going on. They have surpassed that team. Minnesota, I just think they're better than Minnesota as well. And the Eagles, to me, are. I don't care that either right now Detroit and Minnesota will be playing this week for the number one seed, basically, essentially. It doesn't matter. I don't think either one of those teams are better than the Eagles right now, as things stand. So I am an Eagles fan. The Eagles don't allow Barkley to get the record and they get to win the bowl. Sirianni should be fired. Nah, well, look. Nobody's going to care about that record, buddy, if they win the Super Bowl. Sirianni ain't going to care about that record. Barkley ain't going to care about. Barkley already showing he doesn't care about the record. Barkley is happy being on a very good football team with a legitimate chance to win a championship. He has never felt that in his entire career as a New York Giant prior to this. So this season with the Eagles, he has a legitimate chance to win a title. And that's what it's all about. It's about winning championships. The individual accolades, Yeah, they can come, but it's about winning titles, and that's the first and foremost. What is going on? Happy New Year to you, Philly halftime, my guy. What is up, bro? I ain't seen you in so long, man. How you doing, bro? Hope all is well with you, man. Hope it's been a great holiday season for you, bro. I mean, he could, but it'll be a playoff game, and it just is what it is. You don't want him to get hurt in a meaningless Week 18 game against the New York Giants, do you? That would be even worse. So even you selfish cause who I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Saquon could be a legend if he breaks the record. A first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's gonna pretty much end up still being that regardless. I mean, halftime, honestly, yeah, sure. Would it be nice to see him break the record? Sure. And people have been questioning it, saying, "Oh, it took him 17 games, and Eric Dickerson did it in 16." Well, Saquon Barkley is damn near 40 carries behind the 40 attempts behind Eric Dickerson, regardless of how many games it was. So to me, it would be no asterisk next to that record anyway, because he would still get the job done in less attempts. Just that it was an extra game, but and absolutely right. Barkley has been their offense, no, and he's been the reason for this change in this football team. He's been what gave that team that extra, what they needed. He was that piece that they needed a season ago. That spark. You know what I mean? And a lot of games the Eagles won, they wouldn't have won without the legs of Saquon Barkley. There's definitely no doubt about that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people want to see him break the record, man. Look, but at the end of the day, man, I think they're making the decision what's best for the team. And I'm sure Barkley had influence on this decision. I'm sure they didn't just say, "Go to Barkley, we're going to sit you down. We don't care about you breaking that record." I'm sure it was a proposal to him, proposed to him, and he's a team guy, the ultimate team guy that went along with what the team wants to do, and say, "Look, man, he's not worried about it." And definitely, he wasn't. I mean, look, would he have had another good year with the Giants? Sure. He's Saquon Barkley. But he wouldn't have no 2,000 yards. That's for damn sure. He wouldn't have no 2,000 yards. But he would have, yeah, I mean, he's still Saquon. He would have had a good year because that's what that's what the kind of player he is. But it wouldn't have been 2,000 yards kind of season without with the Giants. That's what I've been trying to say. He could get the record and get hurt on that very carry, for all we know, as he's getting the damn record or something, and then nobody's gonna care about it at all. Everybody's just gonna say how crazy it was to have him out there in the first place. So I don't care who Barkley would be playing for. I wouldn't want to see anybody do it. This is a Hall of Fame. So I agree. That's a football fan in me as well. I definitely agree with you from a football standpoint there. It wouldn't really matter who he's playing for. It just that it is cool. It's something stuff like that is just cool to see. It's always cool when guys have those milestone things like that. The Eagles still have to play the game. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a Sirianni fan myself, but at the end of the day, he gets results. He said Eric Dickerson is smiling. Eric Dickerson is smiling somewhere probably. I mean, I feel like even if he did play, he wasn't going to play more than the first half anyway. Regardless, it's enough to maybe give him time to potentially get the record, which against the Giants he probably could do it in the first half because that's how bad the Giants' rush defense is. But I've been seeing some things that the Giants are going to be resting players too. I guess just kind of see what the young guys they got on their team can do. I don't know how true that is, but we'll see on Sunday, I suppose. I didn't see what comments he made. I didn't see that. So yeah, less carries. So I don't want to hear no more noise about CMC being better than Barkley. Look, I've been making that argument for years that CMC just been in better situations, man. I've been making it. I'm not going to discredit CMC. He's a great, tremendous talent as well, special talent. But I just think people kept trying to say he was so much better than Barkley. No, he was just in a better situation. I think CMC would have had the same struggles on this New York Giant team that Barkley did if he was here, to be quite frank, with everything that was going on here. I mean, yeah, he was. Barkley was putting up numbers with the Giants O line, but he could have been putting up way better numbers if the O line was better, and if we had anything else on his team worth a lick, to not let teams just load the boxes up on Saquon Barkley. So just a lot. He had a lot of things going against him here, and the fact that he still wanted to be a part of this, he wanted to still be here. That's in New York that's what the crazy part was. He still actually wanted to be there, but you know how things work out in this league. You know, we got a GM that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and you know, making a complete ass of himself and making his team worse by the day. Yeah, but like I said, I agree. Like you said, he would definitely wouldn't have had a 2,000 yard season here though. I mean, he'd also be tremendous. Like I said, he could be off to a 2,000 yard season too behind it. He's like I said, I'm not really even trying to overwhelmingly say Saquon is better than CMC. What I'm saying is they're like the same guy. They're truly like the same guy. Just that one was in a better situation for a few years, and it made him appear to be so much better. When realistically, they have a very similar skill set. Now, Saquon's not quite the receiver out the backfield that CMC is, but as far as toting that rock, they're the same guy, basically, in my opinion. Yeah, always. Of course. Line can't block for shit. Tyrone Tracy's experiencing that problem now. We've seen the last few games. As soon as he gets the damn ball, it's contact being made. He got hurt with us a couple years ago walking back to the damn huddle. Rolled his ankle. Saquon Barkley did. Fluke, one of the most big fluke injuries I ever seen in my life. But it happens, man. What's going on, Sean Jackson? Thanks for stopping in. If you're new to the channel, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. He said, I'm a Giants fan, and basically this is typical Giants. Unfortunately, they'll probably finally win in Philly this coming Sunday, and of course, likely drop out of the top 5 draft position. Yep, right there with you. Right there with you. Happy New Year to you, bro. I appreciate you stopping in. We're pulling Jake Fromm up. I wish we could find Jake Fromm somewhere, man. Put his ass out there. Run a couple quarterback sneaks on 3rd and long. Absolutely, that right there. He'd be on record setting pace if he played for the Eagles his whole career, because they've had a good offensive line his entire career. So he would have been running behind a great O line his entire career if he played for the Eagles from the get go. And yeah, Evan Neal is pathetic. I'm ready. I don't want to watch Evan Neal in a Giant uniform no more. I just got to cut your losses with that dude. Either you're gonna kick him in the guard and see if he can play guard in the NFL, because he can't play tackle in the NFL. Evan Neal is not an NFL offensive tackle at all, by no means, shape, or form. He is not an NFL offensive tackle. So I just think you got to kick him in the guard. Maybe if you're going to do one more Hail Mary with him, it's got to be at the guard position. Test him out there, see if you can get something out of him inside, which maybe you possibly can, because he can give you some value as a run blocker. His pass protection is going to probably always be god awful, but he does not have the footwork to be a tackle in the NFL. He just doesn't. And it's been terrible. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I wanted Evan Neal. He was my guy that season in that draft. He was the tackle that I wanted. He was the guy that I wanted. He was definitely my top tackle I had on the board that year. And God, I couldn't be more wrong about him, man. I absolutely couldn't. He said his dad is disappointed. I think his dad will get over it if he gets Super Bowl. If he gets a Lombardi, his dad will be over it. get over that because it's a strong chance they go to the Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley will be a top candidate for MVP of that game. Just putting it out there. I think the Giants will get rid of their GM and their coach. You can't make that kind of move and not be held accountable. Well, not only that move, but there's been other moves in general. I mean, just the players the Giants have let walk out the door under the Joe Shane tenure right now. It's just like I said, we can go over it, and it's ridiculous. I mean, Saquon Barkley obviously the top name, but then Xavier McKinney out there balling in Green Bay. You didn't make any kind of an offer to Xavier McKinney. You try to keep him around. You let Julian Love walk out the door, go to Seattle. He's out there balling in Seattle. I mean, it's just other players, man, other guys. You just let just been a lot of bad decisions from Joe Shane. Look, he was scouted, and for what it's worth, it just goes to the example to show you that these guys in college, man, the NFL is a different animal, man. No matter what level of college football you play, like he played big-time SEC college football, Alabama, big-time program going against top teams in the nation, and he was a dominant offensive tackle. He was dominant. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he wasn't. At Alabama, he was dominant. But that goes to show you that when you're not going against NFL talent week in and week out, maybe we don't know. We're not really seeing the real story. I mean, he was able to be dominant over the guys he was going against. A lot of guys that aren't anywhere near the NFL. You put them in the league, and it's been bad. Sorry, it's been bad. And that's another reason why this New York Giants coaching staff needs to go because I think you're hanging on too long with people like him and not making the right choices you need for this team to make this team better, to make the team better. I mean, even with Daniel Jones, who the hell gets 6 years? Who gets 6 years? Who the hell gets 6 years for you to finally realize that this motherfucker ain't it? He's the only person I've ever seen that ever happen to. I mean, that kid out in Arizona, Drew Rosen, whatever his name was, that motherfucker got one goddamn season. One season. First round pick, one season. Next year we taking Kyler Murray, moving on from your ass. That guy ain't even in the fucking league anymore. That dude was picked before Lamar Jackson in the same draft as Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP who might be a 3-time MVP after this season. And that guy, that dude from UCLA who everybody raved about, Josh Rosen, yeah, that's what his name is. Thank you, Josh Rosen. He looked great in college. Couldn't translate it to the league, and all Arizona gave him was one goddamn year and said, "Get up out of here, bro. We don't want you no more. We're gonna pick Kyler Murray and move on from you after one goddamn season." Gave up on number one on a first round draft pick. Yet the New York Giants sit here and give Daniel Jones 6 goddamn years to just keep fucking this team up. But he said, no way everyone got it that wrong. Look, like I said, I liked Evan Neal too. I thought he was going to come in and be an absolute road grader and be a beast. I mean, I knew that there were issues with pass protection because he had issues even in Alabama a little bit with the pass protection. But I thought he was a dominant run blocker. And I thought that NFL coaching, he would be able to tighten his pass protection up and things would come around. I honestly did. Evan Neal was absolutely who I wanted. I didn't want Cross. I didn't want the guy in Carolina. I wanted Evan Neal. And unfortunately, wow, didn't work out. So I would have got that one wrong myself. Look, it happens. What's going on, Greg Cook? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button for your boy Mac the Giants fan, and a happy new year to you, man. I grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. As a child, I was torn between the Giants and Eagles, decided on the Eagles. Shocked that the Giants front office fall down. Absolutely. The Giants is one of those franchises that's been like a staple of the NFL, man. And for it to fall this far and for it to be that bad, it's absolutely ridiculous now, man. It should never have gotten to this point with this football team. And unfortunately, it's a lot of fixing. They got a lot of things to clean up, man. And I don't know. They're not. It's gonna take a little while. So once again, New York Giants fans, we're back to having to be patient because guess what? it don't matter what we do in the draft. It ain't happening next year either. We're going to still probably be a pretty bad football team next year too. That's just what it have to pretty much cut your losses and accept that as well right now. But as long as you start building this team up the proper way, I'll be able to deal with it a little bit better. Right now, for what I've seen this season, all through this year, I can't watch another season like this. I can't do that. Said in college you can win in size. NFL you have to have good footwork and balance. Absolutely, and that's where he fails in his pass protection so badly, because Evan Neal has probably the worst footwork I've ever seen, and it takes a lot to have worse footwork than Eric Flowers, because Eric Flowers was out so absolutely terrible, but Evan Neal, it's even worse than what Eric Flowers was when he was here. His footwork is terrible. I don't know what he be doing. I just don't know. I can't figure it out. And that's what I mean. Like, maybe kick him inside, and maybe his run blocking ability can give you some value on the inside at guard. But I'm not even sure if he'll be a good guard. I think he's worth at least a shot to see on the inside. But you got to come on, rip the Band-Aid off, man. No more of this offense. He can't play offensive tackle in the NFL. You got to stop it right there. You got to cut that shit out. You got to stop. You got to cut that shit out. And what you got here? You gave him all that money and then you told him to walk. That's crazy. Daniel Jones, I mean, yeah. That's what I mean. Those are the poor decisions, like part of the poor decisions. Like Daniel Jones, you're gonna sign this guy, but you want to pay Daniel Jones, but don't pay Saquon Barkley. You can't make shit like that make sense. One is clearly a far superior football player, and that was clear and obvious. And yet, we play around with him, and now he plays for the damn rival Philadelphia Eagles. But you pay this mediocre-ass quarterback, who might not even be mediocre. He might be less than mediocre, to be quite frank. And this is where you're at. I can agree with that. I would say that Flowers was lazy. That dude was lazy while he was here, and it showed. So I can agree with that. But Evan Neal, something's not translating, and now his second offensive line coach since he's been here. It's just still not translating. This dude still absolutely sucks out there at tackle, man. So I just think the New York Giants have screwed that up. The Giants in the offseason, man. So much to do. Where do we begin? Well, like I said, they got to get their quarterbacks in here. They got to get a couple of quarterbacks in here. You got to draft one. You got to grab one in free agency. You got to get. I don't think you can bring in Sam Darnold or somebody like that, because Sam Darnold, look, for what it's worth, he had a great season, man, and he's finally in a position to negotiate a real contract. So he's going to do that, as he should. So not trying to pay a guy like that. You know what I mean? At this point, just go out there, get a Jameis Winston in here, whatever. Maybe if Justin Fields is available, something like that. Bring maybe one of those guys in and draft a guy. But you got to do something to make this quarterback room better, and that's the big priority, I think, where you got to start. There's other needs. Obviously, you need cornerback help on the defense. Always need O-line help, more O-line depth and stuff like that. I mean, it's this team. You can go on and on and on with what this team needs. I feel like you still need another power running back to maybe pair up with Tyrone Tracy in that backfield. We saw a good one today out here in Arizona State. If you watched that game earlier, man, I mean, that kid's an absolute stud. But you gotta figure something. The Giants have so much stuff to do. Like I said, they got to figure out, who they're keeping around. And by the way, what's going on, Alex? Happy New Year to you, bro. I appreciate you stopping in, man. Most definitely appreciate you stopping in, man. I hope you had a good holiday. What up, Miz? Happy holidays to you too, bro. But yeah, like somebody like dude, like these guys, they'll be cheaper. It's weird to say, but they'll be cheaper than like a Sam Darnold or even Kirk Cousins. Mom heard Kirk Cousins' name get thrown out there as well. I mean, those guys are going to still Kirk Cousins doesn't have that much leverage anymore. I mean, considering the season he's had this year. But like I said, Sam Darnold, like I said, he's finally in position to negotiate for the bag, and he's going to go ahead and do that like he should. So there's no point in doing something like that. So yeah, I think it just starts with all of that, man. You got to really bring these guys in here, man, and figure some stuff out. Appreciate the 20 in the chat too. Appreciate y'all showing me love here on this first episode of the new year, man. 2025 is in full effect. Make sure y'all all go and sub up to Mac the Giants fan for me, man, and help keeping my channel grow. I appreciate all the support, you guys. And yeah, bookends, you're right, man. It's a good thing we're off the hook basically with this contract now, man. I mean that's another thing Joe Shane did do that was also well. I mean he definitely structured that contract the right way. He did do that right at least. So I mean Ohio State is out here just. Whew, I did not expect this kind of effort from Oregon. I thought it was going to get a much stronger effort from Oregon. I'm about to put another one in the end zone, though. Maybe Dylan Gabriel, touchdown, Oregon. Oh no, they already had to. That was a 2-point conversion, actually. So my bad. But yeah, they finally scored. They got 8 points now, 34-8 at halftime. Nobody saw that coming. Ain't no way anybody saw that coming. I don't know. When's the last time Oregon had a game? That might be too much time off situation for them. But they got a lot of work to do in the second half. But I tell you what, college football. One thing I can say about college football, this shit ain't over. The same way Ohio State just put up them points on them, they can come out in the second half and give Ohio State that shit right back. So we'll see. Don't count them out yet. You say Nussmeier, Alar, Ohio State quarterback looks special. Like I said, we're going to be looking at all them guys, man, right now. We're going to have to check them out and look at all of them. What's going on, E, man? Appreciate you stopping in, man. Happy New Year to you, bro. Appreciate you. Like I said, right now with the Giants situation is they're going to have to start digging into all of that and looking at these quarterbacks. Like I said, you can't just focus in on Shador and Cam Ward at this point now. You got to start looking at the big picture. The reality is that you may not get either one of those guys now, and you got to start really figuring out who your next tier guys are that you want to bring in here to this team. But at the end of the day, they got to get somebody in here, a couple somebody. Like I said, draft one, get one in free agency. You need to do both. You can't not just one. You need to do both. You don't just say we're just going to draft a guy and then bring him in here with Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. That I don't want to hear that shit. You got to bring in a couple of guys because right now the New York Giants quarterback room is atrocious, and it is the worst in the league, and it's probably the worst quarterback room I've seen in some time. Period. Shane has a lot of thinking to do, and don't sell the future to move up. Go up, but don't get hustled. We'll see what happens, man. Like I said, we're going to be digging into all that off-season stuff in next couple of weeks. But just want real quick too, while we still been on the Giants for a while, just talking about shout out to my guy, living legend, Eli Manning making it to that next phase of the Hall of Fame process, and now as a finalist. He may actually get in there, and hopefully we'll see what happens the weekend of the Super Bowl weekend. They'll announce the Hall of Fame class, and maybe Eli Manning has a legitimate shot. He might get in there, man. We'll see. So congratulations to Eli, man. Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, and man, you have to look at that offensive line. It starts in the trenches. If Justin Fields had just a little bit better arm talent, I'd just be all in on getting him and bringing him in there, honestly, because he has the legs to be able to navigate with some of the poor offensive line play. Obviously, you know what he can do with his legs. His arm, but the arm, just he makes some of his decision making, his downfield throws. It just kind of turns me off of him a little bit. But I still wouldn't be upset with bringing a guy like that in. As far as Kirk Cousins goes, it would have to be really come down to the finances with Kirk Cousins. If he's not still trying to get paid like the man, then maybe you could take a look at a guy like that. Because for what it's worth, he did come off this season, coming back from the significant injury, and that may have had some effect on his play as well. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Scatterboo, man. That's my guy. That's a guy right there. I don't know where he's gonna fall in at as far as his draft grade, but that guy's a player, and we need a power back of that kind of magnitude, a guy that can really get up in there in between the tackles and do some damage. And as you can see, that motherfucker got an arm too. He can throw that thing too. You know what I mean? You want to do some halfback throws and shit. He can hum that shit down the field as well. So Scatterboo, man, he's definitely a player, man. He guy I got my eye on for sure, man. Bookends. I know. The Miz was high on him too earlier today watching that game, man. He was the reason for that Arizona State comeback, and he damn sure almost got him. They almost got the W on his back, man. He had a tremendous game out there. He had over 100 yards rushing. He damn near and he might have eclipsed a 100-yard receiving mark as well. I mean that kid's a tremendous talent, man. So like I said, I'm looking forward to the offseason for the New York Giants, getting to this offseason and see what happens with this team, man. But it's going to be a lot going on. This is going to be probably one of the most exciting off seasons for the New York Giants ever. And it's just going to be so much going on, man. I know one thing you can rest assured, you ain't going to be seeing no more New York Giants on no more Hard Knocks. They ain't making that mistake ever again. They had enough. They got embarrassed enough on that last year. So you won't be seeing no more of that this off season, but it's going to be some good stuff. And I just can't believe, like I said, we're here at this spot now where the New York Giants coming out into he's the worst team in the league, and just so much to do. Like I said, I'm just curious to see what kind of moves are going to get made. I'm curious to see if Brian Daboll does survive the process. The more things I'm hearing here lately, guys might have to deal with it and suck it up. He might be here, man. What EGOT said here, he said, Kirk is on the books. Carson is rusty as hell. Justin is not built for NYC. Flacco needs a line. Facts. So best bet is Russell Wilson if he leaves. I mean, it might be. But right now, I feel like all of these guys that you got in this comment, every single one of them are better than the quarterbacks that we have on our roster right now currently. They're all better than the quarterbacks we have on our roster currently. I feel like. And even old-ass Joe Flacco, he's better than the quarterbacks we have on our roster right now. And his veteran savvy could still add something at least to the quarterback room. That's the part of what I mean with this quarterback room being so bad. You got guys in there that who's learning from who? What's that? Who Daniel Jones learning from? Who Drew Lock learning from in there? Who was Tommy DeVito learning from? Like nobody's making anybody better in that quarterback room. No, like what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like to me, that's part of what makes the quarterback room so terrible. Is there's just nothing to build off of in that room. At least these guys give you something. You know what I mean? Something better than what you got. It still might not be great, but it's better than what you got. Appreciate that, Greg. Appreciate that, Greg. I mean, look, it can only go up from here. It can only go up. It can't go down no further. It can only go up from here. So it says gotta keep both. Talking about Shane and Dable, I'm assuming. Oh yeah, well, I'm just getting this feeling that they both gonna be back, man. I don't know, but I don't want either one of their ass back. Or fire both. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Winston is my last option. Laugh out loud. He will be praying before games. See, the thing about Winston is we won't have to worry about ball passes not getting thrown down the field with Jameis Winston out there. Now, the only problem is will those passes be getting thrown downfield to New York Giant players or will they be thrown to the other team? That's the only thing you got to worry about with Winston. he ain't scared to fling that thing around, man, and throw that thing all over the yard though. And so I'm not even upset. Like I'd be, I'd be okay. I'd be okay with Winston. I wouldn't be mad at that either. I still think he's better than the quarterbacks we have here right now as well. So I'd be like, now this is how bad we are. Like we're sitting here trying to choose. This is where we are at as New York Giants fans. That like these are the like we're looking amongst these names of these guys that pretty much other teams don't really want. But right now we'll be happy to have them because that's how bad the New York our situation is. I mean, yeah, I think if Winston was here, Malik Neighbors, who knows what kind of numbers Malik Neighbors would have because he would have been throwing that ball all over the yard to Malik Neighbors, man. That's one thing for certain. I mean, look, when he came into the lineup with Jerry Judy out there, Jerry Judy became a shit. He was the shit for on a tear for about a good little month or so. Out there with Winston out there, man, throwing on the ball, man. Like just certain guys can make a difference, can make some kind of an impact and make a difference, man. But probably gonna wrap this up soon, man, because look, there ain't much more I can keep saying about the New York Giants, and pretty much I said all I need to say about everybody else. Washington, like I said, congratulations to their season. They had a great year, and they're a great young team. They got make sure they go ahead and handle their business on Sunday against the Cowboys and hold on to that sixth seed. Then they'll have a trip out in LA with the Rams. And that'll be an interesting game to see, man. Like I said, we'll be talking about all that. This show gonna keep going on until there's no NFC East team standing. So as long as the Eagles and as long as the Commanders are winning football games in the postseason, we're gonna keep it rolling out with y'all every Wednesday, man. Me and Adam. We're gonna definitely be here with y'all every Wednesday until there's no NFC East team remaining. That's also true, which means he'll definitely Malik Neighbors said he had 1,400 with famous Jameis. He probably would. He probably absolutely would. He probably had a few more touchdowns for sure too. He probably would have. Because like I said, you take that's the thing about a player like Winston. You know what you're getting. You gotta take the good with the bad. I mean, he had that one season he threw for 5,000 yards and he also threw 30 INTs. So I mean, it's you gotta take your good with your bad with a guy like that. But at least he knows what he is and he accepts his role basically in this league now. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. He's not some guy that's gonna come in and disrupt the flow. He knows he's not getting anything signed, getting brought in at best to be a bridge backup type of quarterback, and he understands that. So there's definitely no issue there. There's no that's the one thing with a guy like if you bring in like a Kirk Cousins or even a Russ Wilson, these guys are expecting to still come in and be the guy. You know what I mean? And they have those kind of expectations still. They still feel that way about themselves. Whereas a guy like Winston, you know, he kind of understands his role in this league. So so what I saw from Malik versus the Colts is what we showed we had with Darius Tony's dream ceiling. Yeah, only thing about I don't like to go down that Darius Tony road, but he clearly was going to be a head case regardless. And as you see, where he's at now is I guess he's in the studio because he damn sure ain't on the NFL field no more. Hasn't been on one this season, at least. And that was yet another one of those, just one of those bad moves in the draft. You trade out of that pick, and then that's what we ended up coming away with in that draft was Kadarius Toney. Another one of those things that kind of just did not do anything for the franchise. Nothing positive anyway. A few splash plays here and there, and then that was it. It was gone. Besides the fact that he couldn't stay healthy, didn't seem to stay focused on football. It was a total head case. To come out and think about in that draft that New York Giants was sitting right in the position to draft a game-changing defensive player like Micah Parsons, and you passed up on the opportunity because you traded out of the pick. So, because he definitely had the physical attributes, obviously. But like you said, like I said, he's a head case. Yeah, I mean, look, the trade looked good day one, but at the time, but at the end of the day, could have still stayed there. Like I said, when the Eagles jumped in front of you and took Devontae Smith, who clearly was who the Giants were going to take, so the Eagles got in front of the Giants for that purpose because they wanted Devontae Smith and they got him. The Giants were still sitting there before they made the trade, and then Micah Parsons is just staring at you. He's just right there. All you gotta do is put the card in and say Micah Parsons. And instead, we trade out the pick. The Cowboys going to take Micah Parsons. We took a Darius Toney. Clearly, I mean, that just didn't work out for the Giants. But everybody, I do appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Here at the hour 20 mark, man, and I just did this one dolo. I gotta get in touch with my boy and make sure everything is okay because that seems kind of odd. I haven't heard from him today, and I'll make sure everything is all good on the home front with him, man. But definitely we'll be back next Wednesday. Me, and I'm sure it'll be with my guy Adam Costas once again next Wednesday for another edition, getting y'all ready for the postseason of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Make sure y'all go sub up to myself, Mac the Giants fan. Make sure y'all go sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network. Make sure y'all go sub up to the Big Blue Crew Sports Network as well, man. And everybody have a safe and happy New Year. And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the way you kept the chat flowing, man. Let me see this last comment. Mac, one thing I want to add is how the NFC East teams stay ahead of us, their relationships around the league. Yeah, that part right there. Because like I said, you look at the moves the Eagles make consistently each and every year to keep making themselves, stay relevant. You saw what Washington did this year. I mean, Dallas never has that many issues doing what they need to do. They had a rough year this year, but yeah. But definitely appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Y'all continue to enjoy the rest of y'all holiday. Have a safe and happy New Year, man. Is your boy Mac the Giants fan. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.